one better. Rather than just getting an autograph or a selfie, Aaron Smith took the jersey off his back and gave it to this young boy who was absolutely freaking out. Joining us right now is the man himself, Aaron Smith. Aaron, thank you so much for your time. Those moments, like on the weekend with Charlie, how special do they become when you've got one game left down in Dunedin?
It's pretty special. It's one of those little things. You get in a little bit of trouble from your manager. Super Rugby jerseys aren't like All Black ones where you get one a game. So I sort of took the slack from that, but it was all worth it. And just sort of the little fella was just used his manners. And sometimes when you do the selfies and the autographs these days, it's pretty bad. They're pretty rude. They're just like, give the photos, give your boots, do this. And he was so lovely. He said, "Hi, Aaron, nice to meet you. Can I please have a photo?" And then I was like, "Yeah, mate." And then he said, "Can I please have your boots?" And I said, "Oh, nah, you can. What about my jersey? I like my boots at the moment, sorry." And he was pretty happy, obviously.
So cool. You've just made that little boy's life, I think.
Absolutely, mate. I would have thought the conditioning trainer would have been after you about your GPS too if you'd given that away in your jersey.
I grabbed it out. They must have edited it out of the video. So I wanted to check the stats on that game. It was pretty hard out.
Mate, obviously, a lot being made of your last week as far as probably playing for Highlanders in Dunedin. Is any time to get sentimental, or is there just too much riding on it at the moment?
Oh, it's been a big couple of days media-wise, to be honest, Beav. And this is sort of the last kind of port of call, but it's been great to look back, think back, and but yeah, as you know, as a footy player, you've got to keep your head locked into what's to come, and we've got the Reds coming, and we need to win. So I'm really excited about that challenge. I've got a heap of family and friends coming down. Love pressure, and it's all riding on this game for us, which is awesome. It feels like a final, and we've got to treat it like that, and you can tell amongst the boys, even with the short week after our performance, we're not too happy with, but we won. But we really wanted to try, and we didn't take points in the weekend because we were trying to get the bonus point, but we still won somehow, and that's sort of been the story of our year. So we've got a chance this week to try and get a win and get in the playoffs, hopefully, and try and go up to Hamilton and stir it up. But we've got to win first, and that's all we're thinking about. And with all the hoopla around my last game, I just want to win on Friday night.
Well, we're probably going to annoy you, and we're going to go a little bit sentimental on you just for what your last time. Your last time, but
don't get us emotional.
I was going to say, mate. Obviously, you probably didn't think about it when you were signing your first Highlanders contract to go down there. But I was thinking about when we were preparing for you, mate. The roof, the time of, I guess, the fourth loose forward as far as the halfbacks go, and then you went down there playing on, I guess, under the roof every week, playing that fast game with that wonderful pass of yours. It's almost like things just aligned perfectly for you, which you probably didn't think about when you signed down there originally for the first time.
Nah, you're right. And I played 1 year at Carisbrook, and it was pretty interesting.
Bit different.
A bit different. But the big draw card was, obviously, I was trying to get a wider squad contract somewhere, and I was with the Blues the year before, and couldn't get one anywhere. And then I played NZ Māoris because Pity made the All Blacks, so there weren't many Māori halfbacks at the time. There are heaps now, but at the time there weren't many, and I got in that squad. Chris Smiley, poor bugger, broke his cheekbone 10 minutes into the game, the Barbars game, and I played the two tests versus England A and Ireland A. And Jamie liked what he saw, must have, but he rang me and said, "I've got a full contract for you in the Highlanders. Do you want to come?" And you have 2 days to decide. So he offered me my dream of playing rugby all year round. So for the Turbos and Super Rugby, which was better than playing for the Turbos and hairdressing the other 6 months of the year.
Can you believe, like you just mentioned hairdressing, that you've gone from this barber from Manawatu to 12 years down with this team, the Landers. You've met your beautiful wife, had 2 beautiful boys, won a title along the way. You'll be walking out as the most capped All Blacks halfback of all time. I mean, what do you think when you sit back and reflect on all of that?
Oh, I just think very, very lucky and very blessed, and very grateful to the Highlanders. And when I came down, I just the big one was the draw card was people were like, oh, why are you going down there to play with Jimmy Cowan? I was like, well, why not? He was the best halfback in New Zealand. Why not go learn from the best? And he was a very good defender, which was my weak point for sure, and probably still is. And but yeah, just you look at it and you just go, wow. And injuries wise, and but I think when you think about it deeply, my desire to make the most of any opportunity to still always trying to learn and improve and never settling. And I'm a big goal setter, and that's just been massive every year. And I've had some awesome help and some people guiding me. And I haven't been perfect as a man all around, not by no means, but around rugby wise, I think I've always had this mindset. I want to be better and get better, and my pass is never quite right. And how can I influence my teams better, and how can I get my body better? What's the next level? What's the next level is something I'm always chasing. And I think that it's a bit off in my head, but my wife gets pissed off when I leave really early to go to the gym before training even starts. And I just say to her, like, this is what it takes, hon, and this is what makes me feel good. And you can't, it's sort of never settled for me, and it's never sat right if it's done half. And I'm not the fastest or most gifted athlete, so I've worked really hard to be better at those things. And my body is my main tool, and I do everything I can to get it to as best shape it can. And you figure out in the end too that it actually helps you play a lot better. And with all the games and all that, I'm not saying rugby gets easier, but there's not many experiences I haven't had on a field now, winning, losing, yellow cards, down by 20, up by 20. There's not many scenarios, and the game's way more fun now because every game's different, every ref's different, the stadiums, the calls. You train all week. All the extra training I do is just to play that 2 hours on a Friday or Saturday night and just have fun.
Mate, you talk about going down there to play on the Jimmy Cowan and the experiences you've had. I'd say you've experienced everything all in that 1 year with Donga probably off field. But the other thing that I guess you mentioned that you went down there to learn off Donga or Jimmy. What about Falau these days? Yeah, obviously you take a pretty hands-on role on his development, and how's he cracking on? Obviously he had that horrific injury, and he's there or thereabouts at the moment.
Yeah, or with any halfback that I've been around or with, or All Blacks or Highlanders, I'm always, if they're keen to do passing or do anything, I'm always keen to work on my pass, give my thoughts on what I see when they're passing. But I learned so much off Falau and the way he sees the game, the way his running game and the way he attacks the line is second to none. And he sort of tried to get me into jackling. He's a very good jackler. I am. That is just not me. I've got a couple in the last couple of years from the work I've done with him, but it has to be a pretty nice situation where a guy doesn't have too big a run up. So we do a bit of it each week, and he says, "Yep, get your knees in and get your head on the ball." And I'm like, "That's not me, bro. I'm not one of those like the mouth guards take a hit for the team." I'm brave, but I'm not dumb. And I just can't do that, It's like, I do it when it's like they got no run up and I've won the hype, but any halfback, even James Ascott, Nathan Hastie, and Noah Hoffman when they were at the Highlanders as well, when he was here, I really enjoy that, trying to help them grow and the skills. And they probably think my drills are a bit boring, but it's just around, just repetitive. I just try to get to that point, like the 10,000 hour rule, like, get really good at it. So when you're playing, you're not even thinking of passing. You just see the target and hit it and throw it as hard as you can and back your pass.
I was going to say, mate, I know you're not a man for shortcuts, but if there's one shortcut to take in training, I'd say the jackal drill. I'd say where you've got to in life, I think you can forget that one and just leave that one to Falau and move on. But mate, obviously you've signed in Japan. Why Japan? Was Europe an appeal, or Japan was always where you wanted to have a crack?
No, Japan was sort of and for the longevity of it and closer to home. And obviously, you've played over up in the UK as well, and the amount of games, and that I don't think I could do that, or not for long anyway. And I think Japan, the prospect. I've always enjoyed when I've gone there. I spent a bit of time there for a couple of weeks playing Super Tests and then that World Cup, and I loved it. And I thought this would be pretty cool one day. And yeah, I'd see how long I can play. That's the goal. I signed a 3-year deal, so I'd like to see that out and then see where the cards lie. And the truth too is to set my family up. It was the best offer by far.
Yep.
By far from Europe or UK and France. There was an option, but the money wasn't as good. And I rang Steve Hansen straight away when I was talking about going to Japan, and he said, "Hey, little punk, if you're going to come here, you're coming to my club." As you know, Beaver, he's pretty short and abrupt. He rang me like a month before I'd even thought about it, and he said, "I'm at Toyota, so if you want to come over here, you're coming to my club. So you let me know." And I rang him a month later, and it was done 2 days later. So I was blessed for that connection and his love and support of me and my family. And yeah, the opportunity for a new experience, prolong my career, and also one flight home. And then, like, to be brutally honest too, is the money, it was really good. And I've been on great money in New Zealand for, 10 plus years. So I'm in a good place, but I want to set my boys up, and I want to come back and, give back to rugby and be a dad. And as an All Black father, you are not home from June to November, and that's the hardest part. And in Japan, I'll be home every night except for the odd trip to Tokyo.
Aaron, you're such an amazing interview, and you're going to make an incredible commentator or analyst on Sky Sport if you ever want it one day. You mentioned how you're a big goal setter. Obviously, in the short term, that'll be with the Highlanders, but long term across the year, surely that's to win another Rugby World Cup as a starting halfback for the All Blacks.
Yeah, I think the goals are going good so far this year. I jumped in front of hunger, which was the goal for the year. Not because of that, but just like, having targets and then making the playoffs is definitely the one. And then in the black jersey, it's just make that team in a month's time or whenever it's named. And then, the dream from when we lost to England and I got home, I'd set that goal. I want to go to 3 World Cups. So I want to be there first. And I don't want to. I want to go to 3 World Cups. That'd be pretty special, and I just want to give myself the best chance to do that. And that's why definitely it started really early. All those pre-seasons, that's why you see a lot of the boys playing really well. It's just a different year, different mindset in a World Cup year. It's just that carrot at the end of the year is so big, and it just makes it so much fun to try and play hard and get your body fit and get ready for it. And I've been to 2 and won 1, lost 1, and still got that bad blood from 2019, but that was our fault. And I'd love nothing more than a crack at a World Cup in France, and I'd love to be at that game 1 versus France in Paris. That's the goal, is to be there. And what happens at the World Cup will happen, but I'd just like to make that first squad first, and that's sort of how I see it anyway.
Now, Aaron, I know you don't need text messages and whatnot to fill your head just like what Izzy and Beaver may need on a day-to-day basis, but our text machine has literally been flooded with messages for you. I just want to read a couple that have come in the last sort of 10 seconds. The first one says, "You're such a champion bloke, Smithy. I'll be at Forsyth Bar for your final home game in the Landers kit." So that's brilliant. We've had so many messages like that. And another one here saying, "Nuggy, there is no such thing as a perfect person, but you are. You're a good man, and you make rugby so fun to watch. So thank you."
Oh, primo. I've felt the love, and I think that's good. Especially with the human stuff, like my rugby accolades are that, but you just got to be real about it as a person. I make mistakes too, and everyone has, and no one's perfect. And I think you just got to be able to learn from them, and like rugby and like life, you learn the most when you do something wrong or when you lose a game, and that's when you learn. But as long as you learn.
Thank you so much for joining us. We know it's been a massive week for you doing media. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the rest of the season with the Highlanders. Go well. And we can't wait to see you in that All Blacks team as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, guys. You guys rock.
SENZ. It's Kiwi for Sport.